What's up, guys? Welcome to Recruiting is No Joke Live. We're here at Unleash. We're at the fountain booth. Looks amazing.
Looks great. I like the blue.
And I'm here with another great guest. I got Zack from Vizia. So Zack, why don't you give us like 30-second pitch on who you are, or like the Twitter bio.
Like who I am and what I do and why I'm on this earth.
Yes.
I'll take it. Hi, it's good to see everybody. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. My name is Zack Johnson. I am the GM of Embedded Analytics at Vizier. I've been working in people analytics for 18 years now, which is kind of insane. It's even more insane when you do the math and you realize that's half my life.
Oh my God.
But I'm super passionate about changing how people manage people.
Yeah.
So bringing data and rigor to the most important decisions we make about our lives. Like, we spend so much time at work, and work solves all problems, right? It's people working together. And so I've been focused in this area for a long time. And at Vizier, we've actually done that at scale, where we have over 55,000 customers today using various applications of people analytics to understand their workforces and make better decisions, including a lot in the recruiting and pre-hire world.
And where are you based?
I'm based in Vancouver, British Columbia. Gorgeous, gorgeous place.
All right. I love it. All right. So obviously most of the audience here are recruiters. And we were talking a little bit about this.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of confusion even as to like what people analytics is.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to people about it and I don't have necessarily a clear understanding. I'm sure a lot of recruiters out there. So how would you say that recruiting and people analytics relate? And if you're a recruiter out there, what would you have them focus on?
Yeah, of course. So first off, analytics is a huge category. There's lots of things that are analytics, and no one company does all of it, right? Yeah. So Vizier is very business intelligence focused. It's how do you take lots of different data points around a person and group of people and be able to answer and ask questions about it, which is different than like doing like sentiment analysis or like a resume screen or something like that. So there's huge category of lots of things. I'd say if I had to define people analytics, it's really taking data around people at work, whether while they're working or between work or before they move to a company, and using the data around them and about them to answer questions about how they do work well. And as we all know, one of the single most important things you can do when you're building an organization is have people come and work for you, which requires hiring and recruiting. So if I was a recruiter and I was thinking about people analytics, it's how can I use data to make better decisions about finding great people who will be successful in my organization, who are going to stay there and grow and develop. And there's a ton of things you can do to make that work.
So for example, all right, could you take the information, the data points that you have and craft an EVP? Like, how would you do that, right? For like talent attraction, like how would you have recruiters use data to attract talent?
So there's a whole bunch of places, right? And so if you think about the recruiting funnel, where the top is like job board and the bottom is like ATS to onboarding.
Yeah.
You can attack this problem in different ways. One of the ones I like to give an example of is like the applicant tracking piece. So like, well, actually, no, I'll answer your question the way you asked it, right? It's like when you talk about attracting talent, a huge piece is knowing what people are successful at your org.
Yeah.
Like straight up. Like,
so, and who defines that? Like, you work with a new client. Who's picking the data points? And what type of data points?
So we have actually all of our customers are on the exact same data model. Something very unique about Vizier. So if you think about all 55,000 customers, we have one stated data dictionary we've mapped every single company to, some of which do it individually with us, our large enterprise customers.
Yeah.
But through our embedded business, where we power analytics and other HR tech vendor software.
Say like, hey, you're in this industry, you do this. We've worked with hundreds of clients, thousands of clients.
And the data is like pretty straightforward. Think of it at a field level, like first name, last name, tenure, all sorts of aspects of compensation, performance, engagement, like all these different things. If you go pre-hire, it's all the different data points along the applicant journey. So you think of an ATS, you have like hiring stage, you have who the recruiter they talked to was, you have how they were scored, you have what role they're in, you have their demographics, you have where they were sourced from. And so you actually can build a flow. So like one of the things that I love to show recruiters is you can literally look at the journey every single applicant is taking, and you can see which ones are stuck.
Yeah.
And so like, it's not like doing crazy science. It's literally just, we've been interviewing 100 people. These 10 people have been stuck for 3 months. Is that a good experience? How are you going to attract great talent if you're not treating them right in the interviewing process?
Yeah.
So it helps with quality control. It helps manage also if you're managing a bunch of recruiters.
Yeah.
Which recruiters are driving people through successfully, which aren't? How's diversity of interviewers impact results with different types of candidates? Like all sorts of things like that. It's all about just stitching that data together.
A lot of recruiters been laid off, right? We all know this. If you're a recruiter out there and you're like, hey, I really want to get into people analytics, how do you do that? How do you think you best make that transition? What resources do you think people need
Yeah.
to really pay attention to?
For sure. So I think it's a super exciting space right now because most companies have realized they're spending almost all their money on people. Like the biggest expense most companies have is payroll.
Yeah.
But they really haven't invested to do all the measurement, right? And so, especially if you're looking at large organizations, there's a lot of hires for basically dedicated people analytics professionals and folks who work with the data.
Yeah.
There are tons of resources online. If you Google people analytics, there are courses offered through university. There's courses offered online. There's a bunch of like boutique consultancies in the HR tech space that have like dedicated coursework. You can get a certificate pretty quickly where folks would take you seriously to hire on the like technical people analytics role.
Someone had certifications, you'd hire him then. Like what kind of background would you look at recruiting with?
I mean, it depends. Like there's a variety of roles around people analytics. Some are like hardcore, like you have like data management, data science, etc. That's like a hard leap, right?
Yeah.
But
recruiting, data science? No, the same thing.
I mean, it just depends what your background's like,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because like some organizations are like, okay, cool, we're doing everything in Python.
Yeah.
So if I say that and you're like, ugh, then like it could be a leap. But like there's tons and tons of like data forward HRBP hires right now because you need to be able to provide that data on demand to your business.
Yeah.
There's like, I think there's last I checked like 540 open roles in the space right now.
Yeah, which is huge, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, most recruiters I'm talking to right now, I've had conversations here where people are like, yeah, I've been in the space for a while. I don't know what to do. Like,
Yeah.
what can I transition into? So if you're in that spot, I know you mentioned like lots of resources. Like, do you have like a go-to? Like, how you kind of like staying on track, right? With like how fast things are moving.
So David Green from Insight 222 publishes every month on LinkedIn a digest of the top people analytics content.
Yeah.
For me, that's kind of the gospel from a people analytics standpoint because it draws from all different perspectives. So you have academics who do really deep research on this. You have stories and use cases that vendors point out, all those things, and it curates that whole group. And especially when I was saying earlier, analytics can be so broad. I find it gives me a great bird's eye view of what's cool.
Yeah.
And then you see which ones you're interested in, and then you just dig deeper and deeper. So like some people might be really psyched on the assessment world. You're going to spend your time in a totally different space than if you're looking at like the BI stuff that we do as a company. But that's a great place to start, and they've done really good things for the community.
So going from BI to AI.
Yeah, right.
Obviously, AI is, everyone's talking about it.
Totally.
Everyone's saying a lot of stuff. I'm always a little bit confused. So like AI, how's it impacting analytics? What are you seeing? What are you excited about?
Dude, so
I know you're going to get pumped up for this.
Yeah, so I'll first say like I'm a bit of a true believer on it right now. And I'm a true believer because I have this unique spot in the market where I get to see what everyone else is building.
Yeah.
And I also get to see what startups are doing, and I get to play with the tech myself. And I've just been in this space for a long time, and I've seen things that have my jaw on the floor. And some of it's like people
jaw on the floor.
Jaw on the floor. Yeah. So like when most people think of LLMs, they think about like chatbots, like ask any question, get an answer, right? Yeah. Vizier's done some really unique things where we're really good at doing it with data, partly because we can train against the metadata of the model, not the data itself.
Sure.
And so like I'm using AI every day to ask and answer questions about my own workforce. It's really cool. I don't have to learn the data model. I'm like a really impatient dude. So like I'm not sitting playing with charts all day. Like I don't have time for that. I'm on the phone all day, right?
Yeah.
And so like stuff like that's cool, but it's incremental. It's how to make things easier. But I've seen like organizations have become much more comfortable with recording stuff, right? Like whether it's Gong or Zoom meetings or like a pre-hire, even with interviews.
Yeah.
AI is amazing at summarizing, finding differences, and synthesizing that in a really crisp way, particularly like large language models. If you think about how much time managers spend just like, what did this person say? What did that person say? Are we aligned to what the product is?
Yeah.
You're going to have a digest every morning where it's like reading the newspaper, which has, if you think of like your top themes as an organization, what are all the areas of agreement and disagreement in the company? Roll that up where it's only strategic.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot one that was important to me. Go back and rerun it. That stuff's coming like in the next 12 months. Like those products are being built right now and they work.
Yeah.
Imagine how different work is when each day you just get a digest of what happens. That's only one application.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think a lot of times people think of AI as replacing a job outright. I think actually the group that's going to be most impacted and the least prepared is managers. It's just going to change what the day-to-day job looks like because so many things that are like, I'm trying to figure out if I trust this person and what they're saying, like they understand the problem. You can audit all the information now and have something summarized for you. Like that totally changed what my day looks like.
What about, I've been asking a lot of people this on the candidate side. Like I work with a couple companies. I work with one in particular. They have an auto apply tool.
Yeah.
Because that's a waste of time, right? Like it's going through manually applying for jobs. I've been asking people, like, in your mind, like, is AI on the candidate side, is that a positive? How does that impact things that just create a bigger funnel that just creates more problems?
The honest answer is I don't know. I think there's going to be obvious bad and there's going to be some really cool good.
Yeah.
So first off, I don't think individuals in the workforce are as empowered as companies are. Full
Yeah.
stop, right?
Yeah.
You don't have the resources of a company behind you. You don't have the data, the capital, like all that stuff, right? I actually think one of the things about AI that's really exciting is, especially like AI agents, if you play with some of like the agent models, it dramatically extends the work and reach an individual can do. And I think people deserve that as applicants and they deserve that as workers. So I think there's going to be a big push around externalizing a lot of data that people take and carry around with them. I think there's going to be a big push around almost like tendrils to do stuff for you outside of work. So whether it's in your personal life or between
I
jobs.
got that chatbot now on Instagram, right? Meta.
Yeah. And so, but I don't think it's I don't think it's all going to be chatbots. I think like a key, so I interview a lot of people. Like I've hired like 25 people in the last 6 months. And the thing that
What's your close rate?
my close rate, it's pretty low because we say no a lot, right?
Okay.
But like, so the fundamental challenge for hiring that I find is everyone wants it to work. I want to hire the person because I want to fill the role. They want a job. So it's very easy for us to like in the Nash box, both like be like, oh, like with the thing we both want, when actually it's a miserable fit.
Yeah.
And those are the jobs that wind up causing the most challenges for teams. And then you have to make a change later and all that stuff. I think it's really important to, as a candidate, interview the company you're trying to work for. What tool out there tells you what's a great job for you really well? Like, that's the most important question. Where should I work that's going to set me up for success based on who I am, what I'm good at, what I want to do, where I live, all those things?
Yeah.
Help me learn that.
Yeah.
That takes an immense amount of research, self-discipline. You got to know where the stuff is. You got to have a network who can help you. Jobs are kind of like,
do you think companies do a good job though of like actually communicating all of those things too?
absolutely not.
So how do you're interviewing someone, how do you communicate like the real story?
So I actually have a really unique interview I do that I'm pretty proud of that I think helps. It's by no means perfect, but what I'm really trying to do is I have a couple talent beliefs. One is jobs are vectors and people are vectors, meaning the job's always changing, the person's always changing.
Yeah.
Are they changing in the same direction or not? So I'll ask a lot of questions about like, what are you good at that you like to do? What are you good at that you don't like to do?
Yeah.
What are you bad at that you don't like to do? And it's a great test for like at a task level. Does this person know and I'm talking, I'm working at a tech company, right? So like talking specifically hiring in a tech company context, you would do this differently for different types of roles.
Right, yeah.
But like, does the person, are they fired up about the work they're going to do? Or are they fired up about the idea of the company and the idea of the job? And you find really quickly, sometimes people come in and it's like, I really don't like doing this.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, that's like 80% of the job.
Or you're like, hey, it's going to change pretty quick. So who
Yeah,
cares?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so really it's about honesty and vulnerability.
Throughout that journey, right? So you set that baseline and then are you tracking that data then? How do you even track that? Check in with them?
I wish I could be like, we've totally nailed this, but we coach to it. So we take notes, and our business within Vizier and Vizier in general, we're huge on developing talent. Like I've got more, I would brag that I have more future SaaS leaders embedded at Vizier than any other company here. But it's because we have a commitment to people to help develop them, push them super hard, intense coaching environment, and it starts pre-hire. But like a lot of it is just like, it's traditional management. We haven't automated that. It's, there's still, takes a lot of energy and care,
All right. What advice do you have for, like startups in this zone that are trying to think about the future? Like, how do you think about how you develop? You work out different use cases. Like what's how do you
well, thank you for asking that question. So the first thing is build bridges. So as a startup, it's really easy, especially as the CEO, because it's just a really hard job to be like, I need to focus on my own thing. Like we'll sell the company one day, whatever, but like build bridges to other companies, the ecosystem. Because there's gonna be a massive realignment of all the categories.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example, right? Culture Amp bought a company and brought in people analytics capability. So is every employee experience company now have people analytics included? Like, is it a subset of employee experience or how's it going to change? Who knows, but it's going to develop. And as a CEO who's responsible for stewarding a company, their customers, their employees, and then whatever money you took or put in, you have to have a perspective on where things are going to go. Yeah. So like meet people at other companies, get coaching, have a peer group to support you, and then just like experiment and be open-minded with tech because it's changing fast.
So when you're making those bridges, what matters to you more? Like the people behind it or the actual technology?
People, always.
Always. Okay.
Technology is cheap and AI is making it cheaper.
Yeah.
It's people. And like at the end of the day, execution is everything. Like a so-so company with great tech just gets smoked.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Operation, especially in this environment, operational discipline, love for customer, willingness to learn. Companies like that just rock, and they're
Yeah.
fun to work at too. You know.
All right, I'm gonna do last question here.
Sure.
LinkedIn and Indeed, they meet in the street, and it's dark. Who wins in a fight, and how do they win? Like, break the fight. I feel like you could do some good commentary here for this.
When you have friends on both, dude. I mean,
pick a side. No, I'm just joking.
I mean, I think what Satya Nadella is doing with Microsoft right now is going to be one for the ages. I wouldn't bet against that crew in a street fight. But like, I don't know.
How would it go down?
Indeed,
Like
could be a sleeper.
chokehold or like
chokeholds.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of circling.
Okay.
And then running headbutt.
A strategic fight.
Like a running headbutt, like arms behind, like, you know?
I like that.
I got you, man.
All right, man. So where can people connect with you, find out more about
Yeah,
you?
follow me on LinkedIn. I post content sometimes, particularly AI stuff. I'm not a TikTok guy.
It's going to get banned.
It's, you know what it is? I get so distracted by so many things, and it's like a tool that's like the best distraction engine ever. And I read a lot of books.
Cool.
And I know that, but like my toxic trait is I read books on my phone.
So
it's weird.
LinkedIn,
swing by the booth if you're ever at a conference and Vizier's there. I'm usually there.
Yeah.
Honestly, just embrace the change, right?
I
think the AI stuff's scary. I think data can be scary if you haven't used it a lot in your role. But it's gonna be very. They're scary words, right?
It's just like you say data to people,
but
and like I gotta know something.
But like, if you've ever felt like you were overlooked at work or misunderstood or whatever, the data is going to help bring truth to the forefront.
Yeah.
And like, it can be extremely empowering. And so I'm optimistic about the future, and I think you should be optimistic too.
I am. I'm very optimistic. Well,
thank
Zach,
you, sir.
Thanks for your time.
I appreciate you. I had a great time. Thanks for listening to me rant and ramble.